Hey everybody, the purpose of this video is to get you guys some solutions to this quiz on central tendency and variation. It involves gas and diesel prices at a certain date, looks like April 2011. It's time to update some of that. Let's see, I made a little note here, to make the axis fit, I had to take, oh yeah, okay, so we're good. What it is, it's a side-by-side histogram, and the reason it's somewhat confusing is that each horizontal category has two potential bars in it. Like, for example, 366 to 370 has the bar for gas, and there would be a bar for diesel, except the bar for diesel, there is no diesel in that category. There's no diesel here. There's no diesel here. Here's one where there's a data in both. So there was gas and diesel within the price of 381 to 385. But we'll deal with all that momentarily. Let's fire up our TIs to get ourselves some data. We need to get into our lists. As far as the data goes, the data is price in dollars per gallon. So in here, we're going to have to do 368. I'm picking the midpoints of these. 373. 378, 383, and so forth and so on. 388, 393, 398, 403, 408, 413. Now, how are we going? 418. Better question, I have always asked this one, and I think I know the answer, is why is diesel more expensive than gasoline? I mean, that's a loaded question, because diesel generally isn't more expensive than gasoline. It's more expensive at the pump per gallon, but because diesel engines tend to be more efficient than gasoline engines, you end up paying less for diesel costs than you end up paying for gasoline. They also last a lot longer, so generally you're going to get more use out of a diesel vehicle, but it's a less refined petroleum product. And so the only answer I got is demand. As far as demand goes, I think commercial diesel is cheaper than residential, because, I mean, every truck on the road, which is a huge number of vehicles on the road, is a diesel vehicle. But residential diesel isn't allowed to purchase those diesels. So demand would be one. And the other thing is just subsidies. I'm sure that the government subsidizes gas a hell of a lot more than it subsidizes diesel. Anyway, L2, I'm going to put in the frequencies for the gas cars. So there's one gas price between 366 and 370, 4 in the next, 7 in the next, 8 in the next, looks like 3, 1, got a couple zeros now, no 398s, no 403s, no 4, actually the rest of them are zeros, aren't they? Whoops, can get rid of that one, don't need him. And then diesels, I got a few zeros, 0, 0, 0, and then there is 1 there, and then we've got a bunch of zeros until we get to 413. 413, we've got 3. 418, we've got 8. Then we've got 1. Then we've got 0, and then we've got 1. There we go. There's our data. We can get a lot of these answers very quickly. What is the average price per gallon of gas at the stations represented in this histogram to the nearest cent? To the nearest cent, well, let's see what we got here. I'm going to quit out of here. I'm going to go to my stat calculator. I'm going to do one var stats. Gas is in L2, so I'm going to do L1, comma, L2. All right. And that's going to give me a $3.80 as far as an average, and the sample standard deviation is about 6 cents. About 6 cents. So $3.80 plus or minus 6 cents for a sample standard deviation. Okay. Average and sample standard deviation of a diesel, same exact command, but instead of using L1, L2, we're going to use L1, L3. On average, they're at 416 a gallon, with a standard deviation of about 11 cents. Now, if you compare where those averages live, the average of gas was at 380, okay, which is essentially right here. And if you think about this bell-looking curve, that's right about where it should be. If you think about this average of 416, where does that live? It lives right about here. It's on the low end of this bar. Okay? Now, the reason that the average is so low compared to where the majority of this data point is because this guy's way down here. this guy, this outlier, if you will, is pulling the average towards it. If it was closer to the overriding data, you'd see a higher average by about, I'd say, 3 or 4 cents a gallon. So in my opinion, this is my opinion, which fuel price is best represented? I think, based on what I just said, I think gas's average makes more sense. I think for a skewed distribution like this one, I'd be more willing to use the median, or even the mode for that matter, than the average, just because of that one outlier. He's making things behave in a weird way, average wise. All right, I hope that helped, and we'll see you guys in class.